This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, Spro, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL, Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. In studio guest today, Scott Palmer from the Bass Tank. He comes in studio about every couple months to talk about all things electronics. Got a couple things going on with Mr. Palmer over at the Bass Tank that we're going to talk about. One is the Bass Tank Academy, but two, what I really wanted to get him in here for was I feel like an underutilized portion of the year is off-season electronics, figuring out what to do with what you got during the entire year. So for me, I fish like the open EQs and then a bunch of local stuff. So I have all the different waypoints and trails and all sorts of things, but then I'm starting a new year. I'm going to be in a different boat. I'm going to have new electronics. So there's some stuff that you can do during the off season to make sure that you don't lose that stuff, because that's important. So whether it's waypoint management and storage, transferring to units, updating units, we're going to go through all of those different things with Scott. When he gets into the studio, he got stuck behind a semi-convoy on the highway, like one of those wide load deals. It took him like 15 minutes to get past it. So we'll talk about that. If you guys didn't have a chance to listen yesterday to Rick Pierce, it was a 2-hour show. And then I filmed immediately after that show with Britt Myers Jr., rookie on the Bassmaster, or not the Bassmaster, on the MLF Invitationals in 2023, and really impressed with Britt Myers Jr. I think he said he was 23, 24, guiding full-time in between fishing the Invitationals this year. And a really cool story about how he kind of got into it, really actually got into it late, as opposed to a lot of these kids who kind of grew up on the water with their dads. He was more into the sports. So that will drop the second week of December. I'm actually headed to El Salto then to experience Mexico for the very first time. But we had Rick on live, and there's a lot of stuff that Rick said. If you guys haven't listened to the Rick Pierce interview, I would highly suggest that one. But one of the things we kind of touched on that I was planning on doing at the end of the show, but we'll just move it to the beginning of the show, is Bassmaster came out at the end of last week with the Opens EQ field. And really the question 2 years ago, when Bassmaster went from 3 divisions of the Opens, where the top 3 in each division made it to the Bassmaster Elite Series, then the top 3 overall also made it to the Elite Series. They switched that 2 years ago to the top 9 that fished all 9 made it to the Elite Series. And the question was, how many people would sign up for that? $1,800. The payback is not fantastic for fishing all 9. You're talking anywhere from $2,900 to $3,500, $3,600 for a top 40 finish. Obviously, the top end payout was good, but 176 last year signed up for that, which is astronomical, I think, when you think you're $25,000, $30,000 in. So we saw the 9 that made it this past year. We talked about that with Milliken. I think he's 32, maybe 33 as the oldest. And then John Garrett at 28, the second oldest, but the average age of the top 5 was like 23. The average age of the entire field was 26 and a half that made it to the 2024 Bassmaster Elite Series through the 23 EQs. And I was interested to see how many, because I knew there were some guys that were going to the MPFL. I knew there were some guys that were just like, hey, I can't sustain this economically fishing all of the Opens. And then they came out with the interesting schedule, South Carolina twice, Florida, Minnesota, no New York on the schedule, but over 150 anglers signed up for the EQs. Now there's in the article that Bass released right before the weekend, obviously there's some guys that some big name guys that were left out, like Tai Ao and stuff, who's announced that he's coming over. I think you're going to see a lot of, well, I know you do because the field is released, a lot of the invitational anglers that are moving to the Bassmaster Opens. When I talked with Britt Myers Jr., I think he finished 24th in one of the divisions of the Toyota series, and they take the top 5. So it kind of worked down that list, which tells me there's a lot of anglers coming over from the invitationals. But one of the things I thought Bass did a really good job of was increasing the payout for that 20 to like 15 to 30th place, going to $5,000 just for a check. And when we had Jacob Wheeler on the show, he was talking about that top middle angler is really where the health of the organization is, which I thought was an interesting way to look at it. I'd never looked at it like that before. We always want to look at the top end payout, how much it's paying, and then how deep in the field it's paying. But making those guys in that 15 to 30 range, that 12 or 10 to 30 range, actually earn money with a $5,000 check at each open. Now, I know it's not, but you're breaking even and you're making a little bit, I think is a good move for Bass. I also thought one of the really good things that the Open EQs did that hasn't been highlighted a lot is they're paying out the top 10 in the Angler of the Year overall. So like JT Tompkins, he makes it. Yeah, he had a good year. He obviously finished first. He made a lot of money just through tournament earnings, but he didn't get, I think he got maybe like a $10,000 for first place, and that was it. But the fact that entry fees are due within 2 weeks after, for the Elite Series, within 2 weeks after qualifying through the Open EQs in 24, having, I think, $35,000-$40,000 for the payout. The Angler of the Year purse combines for $110,000 for the Opens for the top 10 in 2024. So all of those anglers who qualify for the Elite Series will at least be able to get their deposits paid, to have some cash on hand. That's additional to what they make throughout the year, which obviously if you finish in the top 10, I guess technically you could finish 41st, 42nd in the events, but I think that's a great idea too, is to add that money to the Angler of the Year payout, and then over $3.1 million over the course of the season with 9 events all live. So very excited to see where the Open EQs go in 2024. They kick off the 1st of February. We'll be headed down to Okeechobee, and then a lot of big names in it. I mentioned this on the show yesterday, but Cliff Pace, Randall Tharp, Daryl Gleason, Chad Grigsby, Brett Hite, Charlie Hartley, Mike McClellan. Mike McClellan, incidentally, will be on BTL talking about his decision to move to the Bassmaster Opens tomorrow at 8:30. So just a little segment there on the Opens. I know we've kind of talked about it off and on since it's been up, but I haven't really just kind of sat down, crunched the numbers, and really dissected it. So we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, we'll get Scott Palmer from the Bass Tank in studio. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them up in the instant feedback. BTL on a Tuesday. It's Thanksgiving week. We're actually not going to have a show on Thursday. We're going to give Frank the day off. November 21st, we'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 100. Strike King.
All right, guys, if you're a construction worker, soccer dad, soccer mom, you want to be outdoors, you've seen the Reaper. This right here is the zip-up full Reaper, but it's windproof, folks, windproof. And it actually has the mast built in. It's behind me. I mean, if you can look good, feel good, and stay warm, you better check it out. It's the zip-up Reaper. That's right, windproof.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
All right, we're back. We got Scott Palmer in studio. You got semi'd?
I got semi'd.
Bad?
It was a rolling roadblock is the only thing I know how to do it. You know, I mean, hey, hats off to the truckers. I know they're doing a job, but man, when you're trying to get somewhere, it amplifies it. You know, it makes it feel like this time is just going forever slow. But
yeah,
we made it.
Make sure you talk up into the mic.
Yeah, is that better right there?
Yeah. No, you're
all
good.
right, sweet.
You're good. So I always like to stay a little bit away. I don't like to, but I don't mind staying farther away from the ramp, like on tournament weeks.
Yeah.
But then I always wonder, like, hey, what if something happens on a 30 to 40? Because I like, a 30 to 40 minute drive. You can stop at a gas station 20 minutes in, lets the Red Bull get going.
Yeah.
You kind of gets your head right. So it's not just wake up and boom, you're at the ramp. But I always wonder
what happens.
You're kind of putting yourself at a little bit of a risk the longer drive you have, because statistically you have more of a chance that something's going to happen.
And what happens if you have a flat tire, so you have to build that stuff in and stuff like that, and so now I'm not a morning person. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a morning person, which is,
are you not?
I
call you early sometimes.
It's fine. Like whatever, but just know that you're not getting the best version of me. I am a night owl on the other hand.
Okay.
Like, hey, let's do this at 2:00 in the morning. And for some random reason, I'm going to be up. I can't sleep. My brain's going 1,000 miles. But if I go to bed early, I could go to bed at 8:00 and I'm still going to struggle to get up in the morning, which is dumb because I hunt, I fish, I do everything with all the morning activities, and I'm not a morning person.
See, I was up at 3:30 this morning.
Yeah. You probably caught me going to bed. Like as you were getting up, I was probably going to bed.
Really?
Yeah, actually, last night I actually got in bed early.
I've been having some sleep issues lately. I've been going to bed at 1 or 2, waking up at 3:30 or 4.
Yeah, so that's not good. I still like my sleep. Yeah, I still like my sleep. But I mean, look, I was actually I came down off an adrenaline high. I killed a nice.
I saw that you got a nice deer.
Yeah, killed a nice buck. So I'm tagged out. I don't know what to do with myself. I never fill my buck tags this early. So Oklahoma, we get 2 bucks a year, and I'm done. So I don't know what to do. I guess I'll go fishing. I'll actually get to fish the tail end of this fall/winter transition, which actually kind of is a little bit exciting. Start shooting some ducks before too long. They'll show up.
Did I call you too early on the battery issue? That was 7:30 in the morning.
No, I usually get up. It's just it's a process for me. I would love to be able to sleep in until 8:00. Back when we were a kid, I could sleep till noon. That doesn't happen. I typically still wake up between 5:30 and 6. It's just, it takes me a while for my brain to engage,
It wasn't a battery issue. I need to make sure I make that clear. It was a charging. It was a me charging issue that resulted in.
It was an operational.
Explain what happened, because I think a lot of people have gone through that issue, because I used them 5 straight days in a row at Table Rock, and I only charged them once, but it worked flawlessly once I got the green.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, you called me and you were concerned.
Yeah. So I finished the last open.
Yeah.
And in vintage fashion, I was done for a while.
Yeah.
And I backed the boat in the garage and I plugged the boat in, and I didn't look at it for several weeks.
Yeah.
Just to get my head right, get back in the swing of the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was good for the soul.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize was like I plugged in, but the other end wasn't plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
And then I went fishing in someone else's boat like just a couple days after that. So I opened up a rod locker, grabbed a couple rods. Now I know they have a shutoff deal, but it's still basically when I went to charge it, I got all red lights 3 weeks later and was like, ooh, did I kill it?
Yeah.
Couldn't get it to charge. That was my problem.
Right.
I mean, I charge it, couldn't get it to charge, but I did not understand how it all worked.
Yeah. And so what essentially had happened was your batteries had gotten so low that they had gone to sleep, you know, because you're
my AGMs.
Your
cranking battery.
Your cranking battery was just low. It was just low, and it gets to a certain point of discharge, and you've got to have the right charger to, and anymore, let's just address that. Anymore, your digital chargers know how to bring those batteries back up in a trickle. You know, they're not going to overrun them. And that's essentially what happened. It just gotten so low that it basically killed it, you know, and so it's going to take a long time. But when you get a battery that is at a full discharge or basically close to a full discharge, and we're talking AGM lead acid, lithium would have just shut off and been asleep, and you have to wake it back up. We use that term. You can't just put the full, like, hey, here's, if it's a 10 amp or 20 amp charger, you can't just rush that into that battery because it won't respond. It's got to trickle to kind of wake it up, kind of get the chemicals reaction going on again. And that's essentially what you had. But if you remember, once we actually got it up, I think when you first had it, it was like showing like 6 volts. Is that right? I'd have to go back into the text messages. But
so I plugged it in originally and nothing happened. And then I put it on the external charger, like directly to the red and the black. And nothing still happened, but I had only given it like 2 hours. So I called you and I was like, I think I screwed myself here.
And basically after we talked through it, it was like, no, we just need to give this more time. And then once you got it up, then that's, you know, once you basically let it set for what, probably 4 or 5 hours.
It took about 6 hours for it. And I had my Power Pull Charge app, and I kept looking and I'm like, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And then one time when I looked, it was like, oh, the battery woke up.
And that's essentially finally got those chemical reactions where when you just have a standalone charger, it's not as, we call it a dry charger, not the one that you're going to plug into your boat or mount to your boat.
Yeah. This is the one I just bought at like Walmart. And it's like a box.
It's just a real basic. You can
choose between 12, 36 and 100 or something, and then you can do like lead acid, AGMs, and
you might be able to do lithium on that probably, but in the end, basically it just needed time, and it needed to just say, hey,
it took like 20 hours.
It will. When you run them down that low, it's a slow process to bring them back. Now lead acid are tricky because if we completely kill the chemical reaction, if we take it to a full discharge, we may never get that battery back. There's a couple tricks, and I will say to use this very cautiously. Basically, if you think the battery is dead and there's no warranty, don't do this because this will absolutely void your warranty. I don't care who the battery manufacturer is.
This is just a option.
This is an option. So you always want to, this is not a good option. This is something that my battery manufacturers out there are saying, Scott, don't say it. Please don't say it. Don't recommend that. But I'm just going to tell you it's worked time and time again. And I would only do this if I knew I was going to have to replace the battery out of my pocket. So understand that. If you do this, you're not going to get a warranty.
It's like what guys do to their trucks.
Yes. Yeah. Like this is the, hey, I'm in a bind. But first of all, anytime you fill a lead acid battery with water, you need to be using distilled water. We don't want to add extra chemicals in it. Now, here's the caveat. The reality is the minerals and, tap water, if we want to call it, the lifespan of that battery, for that water to actually truly have a negative effect and kill lifespan, we're going to replace that battery anyway. Mm-hmm. We are, but I still recommend distilled water because let's give the battery the best chance you have to have the best chemical reaction. The other side is if you have a lead acid battery that is dead, that you cannot get to come up, take you just a little bit of rock salt, a little bit, not a lot. Listen, like less than a tablespoon across all cells, and just put it in there because we're trying to get some like jump start. But again, if I'm a battery manufacturer, I am pulling my hair out right now saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe Scott just said that. Be careful. I'm looking at the camera. I'm telling you, this is not a battery manufacturer approved hack. This is just a life experience hack. And if you're doing this yourself, if you get battery acid on yourself and burn yourself. BTL accepts no liability, neither does the bass tank. And these, these opinions are what is a disclaimer I need to say here?
These are opinions of Scott Palmer and no way associated with BTL
or the bass tank.
Or any battery. So how did you learn all this stuff?
See, I've got a scar somewhere. It's
no, but just like anything, like you're a guy you could call and know all this stuff. There's no way you even like how
it's one of those things like, how do you learn anything? You just, some situation comes along and your brain goes, I wonder. And some guys say, I wonder, and that's all it ever is. And then I've always been the guy who says, I wonder. And then I went and did it. And I'm like, okay, I've wondered enough, and that was.
So you were like this way before the bass tank or any of that.
Yeah, I've always been.
We've never like gone into what you did before. Are you cool like talking about that
sure,
on there?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, just know that you.
Yeah. So
a lucrative job doing something smart. That's pretty much what I know.
I mean, obviously I can't talk about specific clients, I'm not going to, but from a general standpoint, if you think of like, we're in Oklahoma, we've got gas plants, natural gas plants. We've got industry, big industrial facilities, refineries, power plants, paper mills, things like that. They've got automation. So they've got a control room, and they've got a guy sitting there at a computer watching the whole process go on. And one of my responsibilities was to make sure that they could do their job. They had a control system essentially that would, they could push a button and something cool happened. That's the best way to describe it, and basically they're monitoring their process. They're saying, hey, I've got this vessel and I'm trying to maintain X amount of pressure. So they may need to open a valve, or they may need to add water or something like that to, maintain the pressures. And I would write the logic to make that process happen.
What is logic?
So the logic is the code behind the scenes.
That makes sense.
And I understand this. I wasn't like literally like writing the scripts, which
you're
is
making
like,
everything talk to each other.
Yeah, making everything talk to each other.
That's why it makes so much sense for you the way you can network graphs and understand how graphs work, because that's literally what you're.
It's just a different version of that.
Did you go to college? Did you get a major? Yeah. What's what major do you do to get into that?
So it's weird. Mine was electrical electronics technology, and I actually, when I first started off, I want to do robotics. Like that was what I want to do. I want to do robotic arms, robots, robot wars. So if you want to know what Scott Palmer is all about,
are you a big fan of robot
I
wars?
love robot wars.
So you actually don't watch to see who wins. You watch to see like how the robots are made.
Well, no, I also like the destruction too. Okay. I understand. You've got this nerd over here who loves the ins and outs of the robots, and then you've got the redneck in me that loves the destruction, and I'm unapologetically a redneck as well. So I'm a contradiction of sorts. Okay. But no, that's how, I got my start. That's where I came from. I grew up on a farm, and guess what? Baling wire, duct tape. If it can't be fixed with that, replace it with something can. That's what so I kind of had to learn that from that standpoint. Dad was very good about letting me, trying to teach me everything he knew, and then letting me,
Was he a tech guy too?
So Dad's a farmer and a CPA.
Okay.
So, so he lived on both sides of it, and he showed me that you could be a professional and also, a farmer.
So you didn't work you worked for a company that went in and made sure the technology of the other companies was working.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. So think of it like if you had a company and you had a software that you were running, or you were gonna you use certain software for this for the show.
Yeah.
And imagine that there was a company that went around and sold that. And then they had like, hey, we've got our support network that if you're having problems, you come in or you want to upgrade. Well, I would have been that guy that came in and helped with the upgrades. Okay. I helped maintain the computers. I had to be much more of an IT guy than I ever wanted to be. Mm-hmm. That's not really what it was. But, we had basically a product that we were a rep for, kind of like I'm a Garmin Lowrance Humminbird rep. We were a rep for that product as well. And then we supported it. So, in a lot of ways, I'm doing the exact same thing that I used to do. We sell the product, but also we support the product as well. That's what we're trying to do.
You're doing it in just a field that you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. It's much funner this way. I'm much more passionate.
Who's more clueless about how stuff works? The people in your old job who would be like, hey, this button doesn't work anymore, or the fishing guys who come in with 9 graphs and are like, hey, you know what I mean? Like,
It's one of those things where that's kind of both. It's funny because like the guys that I dealt with, like in my old job, they knew their jobs very, very well.
Right.
They may not know our software really well. And so that was the trying to teach them how to let the software help you. This is all the capabilities that this can do. Stop getting in this one mindset. You're doing, your job really well. You know how it's supposed to do. Help me help you. And even in the fishing side, on the electronic side, that's kind of the same way. A lot of guys know what they're trying to do, but they don't know maybe how to get there. And then some people are just, coming along. I've actually got a lot of customers that I know from my previous job, like actually have become
Bass Tank customers.
Bass Tank customers.
You're like,
yep.
Oh, you like to fish? I like
absolutely.
To fish, talk, and then it goes
yeah,
down the road.
Again, because a lot of these facilities, not very few cities or places want a refinery right there downtown.
But I mean, you're dealing with people who can afford a bass boat and electronics.
Yeah, you are. You're dealing with
people who, when they push the button, like important stuff happens, it means millions of dollars.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And good blue collar hard workers. And they're just good old boys, just like myself. And so naturally, when I was there, it's kind of funny, because there was an overlap, from when the Bass Tank started and when I was still doing my job. And so there was an overlap, and naturally I just talked about hunting and fishing, just period, every time I was out. Well, then that turned into the Bass Tank. And then it was kind of funny because we were like, wait, you own the Bass Tank? I'm like, yeah, I do. And like, oh my gosh. And then, it kind of went from there. So, you've got a lot of facilities that are just out in the middle of nowhere. I spent a lot of time in Southwest Arkansas. I got a very good customer base down there, and a lot of guys that I know to this day that whether they're my customer or not, they still talk to me. And so it's interesting the parallels between them. It's just taking this, and I remember one of my college professors said that. He said, everybody may be in a different field, even though what we're teaching or the principles are the same. Everybody may be in a different field. Someone may end up in pharmaceutical, and someone may end up in the oil field, like literally two different directions. But the principles are the same. And so that's what's been really cool. And so I think just taking that to the Bass Tank itself has kind of been an easy transition.
Has the technology transferred over to the hunting world yet? Like, is there a equivalent of live scope in the hunting world right now, or any controversies that's like because like I said, I don't hunt.
Not so much in the hunting world. I mean, like in the hunting world, we've got night vision and thermal imaging, right? Like, but there's restrictions in place for that. Like that would
the closest thing be like a crossbow deal?
It could be a crossbow. For the longest time in Oklahoma, you had to have a medical disability or a disability to be able to use a crossbow. And so that would probably be a good indication there, because, the guys that, and I was in this court, I'm not gonna lie. Like I held off getting a crossbow for the longest time, but then I got tired of not hunting bow season because I got to the point where my shoulder would not let me pull back my compound bow.
Yeah.
And I just stopped hunting because I was like, man, I'm not going to get a crossbow. Well, then finally I'm like, dude, I'm tired of missing most of deer season. And so I did it. And I can see why, because I can shoot my crossbow 100 yards accurately, lethally. That's not how far you're supposed to shoot it. But now I wouldn't take that shot.
Just a rainbow.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's not really even a rainbow. Yeah, it is. But the guys that say, hey, don't shoot your crossbow. I can't believe you'd shoot your crossbow. Well, then they're sitting there with a $1,500 compound bow that I'm like, well, how far do we want to take this back? And forward facing sonar is the same way. Like the guys that are griping about it. Okay, well, take the side imaging off your boat. Like take the navigation. Let's go to a paper chart. And
so there's some similarities.
There's some similar. It's not quite as tough because you don't have hunting tournaments. There's not as much money on the line. And now the hunting industry is very, very big. I promise you, manufacturers would tell you that. But there's not like hunting tournaments where it's the biggest bucket week in, week out. And so I think that's why it's maybe a bigger controversy in the fishing side of things. But there are some parallels there.
We got 2 battery questions. Can we knock those out before we move
absolutely.
on? So what I mentioned I don't even think did I mention this to you? What I wanted to talk about off-season electronics today.
Okay.
Like what you can do to make it easier for the next year. Because every year I've had issues getting it from one boat to the other and then being familiar with what I've got new, whether it's a new year. There's a bunch of little tricks and stuff that I know that you can either whether it's buying a couple little things, organization, what to do right now. So when you kick things back off in February and March, you're dialed in, updating your units now, that type of stuff.
I think I want
to dive into that. The two battery questions. And I think they're good questions. Cole. Oh, and I also want to say the two guys who won the Bass Tank Academy.
Yeah.
I have to get you their email.
Okay.
That one's on me.
Yep. All
That's
right.
Scott and Clay. I need to write their names.
Yeah. Give me their info and I will get them all set up.
Yeah. Scott was like, "Hey, have we seen that yet?" And I was like, "Nope, that's on me."
Okay. Yeah. Well,
from the last time you
let's blame Matt, but
no, I write that down just so I made a note. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And I'm also out of water. Sorry. We'll have to get you a glass of water at the next break. Unless you want a Coors Light. I got a Coors Light.
Yeah. Is that the official sponsor, BTO?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I thought I had. No, I think I've drank everything that used to be up on the stand there. I would like to get an official beverage of BTL. Cole wants to know, he's seen pictures of people running their graphs off M18 Milwaukee batteries.
Yeah.
He'd love to get some information about that. Voltage regulators, very curious.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So can you run it off drill batteries? Because this is something that we deal with on a daily basis. Like, oh, I'm just running it off of drill batteries in the whole 9 yards. And can you? Absolutely. Here's my situation with it. You're taking a drill battery that is not marine rated. Plain and simple. That is not a marine rated battery. And there is a chance that water intrusion in there could either kill the battery or cause a fire. Now, I know that probability is low. I openly admit that, but
safer than salting your lead acids.
Yeah, no. I mean, salting your lead acids again. I go back to maybe I should. Hey, we're gonna cancel the show. We're gonna go. No, I mean it's okay. That's just one of those things. Like I said,
it's not recommended.
It's not recommended. The other side of it is, and I know, I'll just say it. Like everyone guys say, oh, I go for days with this 6 amp hour, 18 volt battery. No, you don't. You may go days where you fished an hour or two. But start in the morning, and if you're running any level of electronics, where you're running more than 2 graphs, if you're just running a live scope, for example, and a 9-inch unit, yeah, you're going to get away with it. I mean, for a while. But why do I want to have to carry and deal with extra batteries? There are too many good lithium batteries. There are too many cheap lithium batteries.
Can you get like a little baby lithium?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's 20 amp hour. There's a little 50 amp hour battery that we sell that's cheap and got good warranty. And
what does that run?
I mean, I think right now $200-300.
Oh yeah.
I mean, why mess with anything else? And have to worry about changing out in the middle of the day. Oh, and then you've got to go charge those because then those have to come out of your boat. You have to get them charged. Why not we spend an awful lot of money to try to save this dollar over here that reality ends up costing us time, and then we forget to charge it one time. The other, I guess, gotcha to that is if you're trying to make a portable bundle, let's say you're a dock fisherman or up north, our ice fisherman, guys, the drill battery makes a lot of sense. Like, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Bass Buster boat.
Yeah, exactly. If you're having to, if space is really, really limited, that I could see that. But for us that are running actual boats, an 18, 20 foot fishing rig, whatever, that everything is not, that doesn't need to be portable, I guess I should say. Let's just spend the money on a lithium battery, a cheap lithium battery. And I'm not even pubbing a specific battery right now.
And you're good for 2, 3, 4 years on that too.
Yeah. Let's do that, because by the time you spend enough on these drill batteries to get the size you need, you've spent $400 or $500. Yeah, you can go to the online and you can get them. Oh, I got this battery for $10. I ran those drill batteries in my drill, and they would last me 2 months, and then they wouldn't charge, and then they swell up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm done with this. So can you? Yeah. Does the math work? Sure, but there's a point where it's like, why am I doing this
in the long run?
In the long run, let's just do it right. And
yeah, and get a little. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bass Fanatic. What, if any, issues are there running an AGM cranking? Let's see if I can understand this question as I ask it. Running an AGM cranking in parallel. What was that?
Something fell. Somebody's here.
Did you close the front door?
Yeah, I thought I closed it.
If anyone comes in, we'll be live. We'll get a lot of good ratings.
Yeah. Hey guys, this could go viral.
All right, let's focus again. That was a loud bang, wasn't it? Did it sound like a door open?
Yeah, it sounded like the door opened and shut.
All right, we'll ask this question, then we'll take a break. And
okay.
See what I can grab while I go out there. What, if any, issues? What, if any, issues are there running an AGM cranking in parallel with a lithium cranking and having your aftermarket electronics harness connected to the lithium?
Okay. All right. So in an emergency situation, you're going to be okay. So this is an emergency. I've got to get back to the ramp. In a day-to-day, this is just my configuration. Absolutely not. We do not want to mix chemistries between boats or between batteries. So, and that means I wouldn't want to mix an AGM with a lead acid. I wouldn't want to miss a, parallel. When I say mix, I mean paralleling or putting in series with. If I've got a lithium battery, it needs to be a standalone or parallel to other lithiums or in series with other lithiums. Same thing with AGM, same thing with lead acid. We do not want to do that because the discharge rates are completely different. The chemistries are different, and we're going to cause one of those batteries is going to be harmed. Your lithium battery is probably going to try to keep your AGM up all the time, which seems like a good thing, but it could cause it to go to sleep. They're not going to charge at the same rate. It's just not going to work.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Let's take a break, and if we're not back in 3 minutes,
call the cops.
Detail on a Tuesday. Scott Palmer from the Bass Tech. See you back right after this.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ramtail craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly. All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at shorelineboatandrv.com. Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
All right, we're back after some further investigation. We determined that it was a latch was not properly secured on the door, which caused the door to so it was the door flinging open. So that was the sound that we heard.
Yeah. You can blame me. It was my fault.
Well, unless there's someone hiding, he's like, haha.
Yeah. We'll know. Again, if we just randomly disappear, just know.
but I think we're all good. All right, this is what I want to get into. A little bit of a selfish topic, but I know if I struggle with it, other people probably do too.
Let's do it.
Post-season electronics.
Oh, boy.
I've got the cat sitting out there. I might have to use it for the first couple events of next year, but I know I'm going to be transitioning everything over. Right now, I've got 3 months that are off, I know.
Yeah.
When you're done for the year, like everyone is, whether you're doing the same thing going into the next year, regardless of what units, do you recommend backing up all of your waypoints as soon as the year's over? Like,
yes.
Like, how often do you recommend the waypoint backing up management? And in your opinion, what is your best waypoint management strategy? Because now I have little chips everywhere, and then I don't know what the hell's on them either.
Yes. All right.
I have my master chip with my passport and my I have my master chip, original birth certificate, passport, and whatever it is to the truck, all in the same spot. Those are the 4 valuable things in my life, and it's in a lockbox.
All right. Wow. Okay. This is a good one. I think it's a really good one because this applies to, even if you're not a tournament guy, there's a postseason, because not everybody's done, Oklahoma, especially, we get the opportunity to fish through the winter. And so, but still season is done. We're definitely not going to be fishing as much as we were for the most part. So there's always little things to make your life easier. It goes on. Every year I go through my boat and I literally strip everything out and I reorganize it and I put it back in. It may be exactly how I started the previous year, or I found something in the course of the year. I'm like, hey, I want to do this, always trying to improve my situation, because if you're like me at all, you get in the middle of the season and things got out of place, and we would all love to have the ability to, every time we left for a tournament, unpack our boats and pack it for that tournament. But that's not the reality for most guys. So from a waypoint standpoint, the more waypoints you keep on your unit, the slower they're going to be. And I don't care who the manufacturer is. Plain and simple. Yeah, absolutely. Like when you load them up with, 5,000 waypoints and you say, well, I don't have 5,000 waypoints. You'd be surprised how many waypoints you have, even if you're just a weekend guy. Because, a lot of you guys didn't just start fishing last year. You've been fishing for 20 years. That's a lot of waypoints that can add up over time very quickly. As you've gotten better with your electronics, you've seen more. And there may be waypoints that are no longer valid. The way I handle waypoints, I do it on a lake-by-lake basis. Now, some guys may say, well, I mainly fish Oklahoma. So that makes sense to have those on lake by lake. Then I've got my waypoints that are randomly I go to Texas or randomly I go to Arkansas. I don't really need specific lakes there. They're okay. That's fine. But the reason why I do lake by lake is, let's say I go to Grand Lake here in Oklahoma and I have all of my waypoints on my units. Now I've got more than 5,000. I'm limited to 5,000. So I couldn't even add another waypoint. So I've got to do something. But if I have my Grand Lake file, I can load my Grand Lake file, and there's not 5,000 waypoints there. And I started with that file, and I go out and I mark my waypoints, right? Well, then when I get done, I just pull those waypoints off, and I say, like, hey, Grand Lake, what is that, the 21st, 19th?
Yep.
21st. Woohoo. So I say, hey, this is Grand Lake 1121. Well, now I've got 2 files that are Grand Lake, and there's differences. So if I was marking waypoints for a tournament, and I say, you know what, those were just specific to that tournament, I really don't need those.
Like
fine.
Spawn tournament.
Yeah, spawn tournament, something like that. I say, I really don't need those anymore. Or I say, hey, I know what this is for. If I ever have another spawn tournament, that I can use those again. But I've got 2 different files, and then I completely wipe my unit of waypoints, clear it. My units are fresh and clean. So now I go to my next lake and say, hey, I'm on Lake Eufaula. Cool. Let me load the Lake Eufaula. Or I don't do anything. I come in clean, and I just do those waypoints for that tournament. And then I say, hey, this is the whatever tournament waypoints. This is the time of year. I always put a date on them, so I kind of know what it is. Now that is a lake by lake situation. Now, here's what happens. You forget to wipe it after it. And so now all of a sudden I've got Grand Lake mixed with Lake Eufaula. And this is the time of year to kind of get yourself reorganized, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, I run Garmin, and Garmin has a software called Homeport. Now they've stopped supporting it, but it's still available. Reality is I don't need it to look like Google Earth or anything like that. I can just export my waypoints right into it. The lakes don't look like that. Waypoints look like they're on land. It doesn't matter because I'm not trying to scout with that. I'm just trying to, select my files, and I can just draw a box around it, move it over, and say, create a new file and say, hey, this is my Grand Lake, whatever, so I can separate it by lakes that way. And I'm going to do an Academy video on this actually.
Okay.
Because this is great that we're talking about it, because
you can go through to have it, because so what I'm getting in my head then is the way you're recommending it is you're going to have a master. It's going to have every single lake on there. Now, you're not going to have a lot of waypoints on your unit, because if you're following the system throughout the year, you're wiping it after each. But if you're a guy like me who has waypoints from the Harris Chain up to Thousand Islands down to Amistad,
right?
What I'm going to do is save a master, but then I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Walmart, wherever I want to get my 16 gigabyte deals, and I'm going to buy a bunch of those because they're cheap.
Yep.
And not only am I going to have a master,
Yep.
but then I'm going to have each lake too.
Correct.
And I can spend a week doing this and going in and cleaning them up and doing all that. So all my Thousand Island stuff that has been the last 25 days that I've gone out there, I can go in, clean out the ones I remember, and have a Thousand Islands chip.
Yeah.
And then the next time I go up there, because I'm not going up there next year,
yeah,
I don't have to put those back on my unit until possibly a year or two from now.
Correct. That's exactly right.
That I never even thought about it that way.
Yep.
So instead of just having one master that you can lose, you're going to have a master, and then you're going to have a library of accompanying chips based on lakes.
And the other side of it is you can do them by individual lakes, but waypoints themselves take up so little data.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a 32 gigabyte card, which every unit out there, it's 32 gigabytes or smaller.
Yeah.
So I want to take the biggest card. You can keep the same file on the same card. Like if you go to my units right now, I've got probably 30 files on that one chip, and that's all my waypoints, but they're just organized into files. So I can just go grab that file and load
so
it.
If you want to do one chip, if you're not like me and lose everything,
I still recommend having
multiple.
The great part about doing it this way is, so you've got your master file.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I put it on a computer, the computer's got it there. Now I highly, highly recommend going and getting an external hard drive. They're cheap, like one terabyte.
That's this thing that I've got right there that I just plug in, and
yep.
that's where all the show replays live.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And the reason why is SD cards are notorious for becoming corrupt for no reason. They're cheap, but the problem is they're cheap. Something happens, and for some reason that card no longer reads whatever.
So screwed.
They're and it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Well, if you have that external hard drive, they've got a little bit of, like, it's a computer with a very light operating system on it. When I say operating system, you can't really interact with it, but it's actually much more robust. That's where I keep my masters, my master files. I keep them on my computer, then I keep a backup on my external hard drive as well. So So now I've got them in 2 places, and then my chips are what I use out there. And so if I lose them, yeah, it's an inconvenience, but I didn't really lose them. They're just, they're on the hard drive. I just need to go create a new one and away it goes. So that's what I do. That's how I manage them.
And the hard drives will way easier to.
Yeah. And I mean,
harder to lose.
You can get a terabyte, like a Toshiba, Samsung, online. You can get them a terabyte for like less than $100. And it's a terabyte. You're never going to fill that up if you just use it on
if
waypoints.
You lose all of your chips, everything should be backed up on that.
Everything should be backed up.
And then you can just download that to the chip, then to your unit.
100%. So that's what I do. That's what I recommend. Like I said, I'm going to go in this step by step in the academy, because this is one of those, like, I think it's great you're asking it, because we can talk about it, and then I want to break
this
down.
Through it for Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, actually do the process step by step and show everybody, because it's one thing for us to talk about it, and some guys will say, okay, I kind of see what he's saying, but I've got more questions, because it is harder to hear it. But the other side of it is, okay, I'm staying with my electronics, I'm staying with the boat I've got, and I'm just managing my waypoints. Yeah, I mean, that's a winter weekend.
That's
you
it.
Could listen to music, have the family there, go out there.
Once you do this, you can do this in an hour or two. Like, it's really not take that long. The trick is once you start the system, if you just maintain it, it's really easy. Now, what's going to happen? Like, again, it even happens to me. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to wipe this off. And so now I've got 2 lakes mixed. Well, that's fine. Don't freak out. Go ahead and export that, wipe your unit, and then go back and break those 2 lakes apart again. And it's not a big deal. Again, I'm going to go in this very in depth on showing you the process.
Let's talk about that now, because we were going to talk about it in the last, but that's a smooth transition over to the Bass Tank Academy, which is your new baby.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a slight pivot for the Bass Tank. We had you on last month, and you talked a lot about it, but it's a educational video series along, and isn't there depending on what you get, I mean, you get a bunch of different stuff on the side too.
So
I'll show it.
So we are, it's a pivot, but it's not a pivot, because we've always been about customer service, and trying to teach people. And what has happened as we've progressed is our phone rings, and probably 50%, if not 60% of our calls are not our customers wanting tech support. And we're put in a bind because we want to help people, but I am trying to run a business, and so now our phone line is tied up with answering questions that we want to answer with people that didn't buy from us. And it's keeping us from being able to serve our customers that did buy from us. And so that's been the struggle, because we want to do it. And we said, how can we do this and still basically keep the lights on? And that's what the Academy, it's been a long-term project. It's been something kind of want to do, but listen, last couple of years have been crazy with the pandemic and everything else. It's kind of made it be on the back burner, but this year I think is the right year to launch it. And, and it's also given me the ability to do some other things. I'm working on, being able to do some live webinars as well, however long, not trying to steal a thunder from BTL, but just like where I can sit down every once in a while, schedule it, and do almost like an install course or a Q&A webinar, where it's just, that's all we're focused on. And that's going to give me the ability, and these features are coming along as we're getting more and more subscribers, and it's growing. It is growing. I'm excited about it. I was able to launch a rewards program based off of it, so man, it just opens up such a bigger ability for me to offer value to the consumer, to the guys listening, to just the fishing industry. Not to be sales pitchy, but just to kind of show you, and I love it because I just issued the first round of rewards. And when I say rewards, I mean discount codes for guys to use that they can use on all of our Black Friday specials. They can use it. They can wait till the beginning of the next round, next year or whatever. It's just, this is real money. Hey, you want to upgrade electronics? Well, cool. And essentially what it boils down to is my Academy subscribers are going to get credit, 5%. Go find someone who's giving you 5% back on every dollar you spend. And then we, twice a year we'll issue the credits and come spend the money. I'm excited about it because like being able to reward my customers, but from the educational side, it really lets me nerd out, I mean, it really lets me go. And I'm looking forward to getting through the Black Friday buzz so I can get back to making more content for the Academy. So that's where we're going to go with it for sure.
I'm so bad at this. I have like a code for BTL. I have a link, don't I? Is there a code or a direct
It's
link?
a direct link. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll get you the link again.
I just did it. I found it.
Okay.
There's no code. It's just a direct.
It's just a direct link.
Okay,
It just allows me to track you. It's not a code that you need to put in, anything like that.
Okay. So click on the direct link in the YouTube description or the iTunes description to check out the Bass Tank Academy. Even if you don't buy anything, it shows Scott that I go there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which helps in the long run. That's what I've been doing over here, is furiously looking for this code, and I'm like, no, there's I don't have a code.
No,
and then I realized I think it was a direct link.
Yeah, it's just a direct link. There's no
Is
code.
that bad that I have a show I make my living off BTL and I am atrocious at discount codes and direct links, and it's not my strong suit.
It's a little bit. So, I'm helping you guys with Waypoint management. I may help him with code management and link management.
I should just have a thing that I paste into every show that has all my links, that has the about the show for the new people.
Yeah.
And yet here I sit.
Yeah.
19 years into it, over.
Hey, it just shows you we're all learning, and we're always learning new things, right? We're always trying to better ourselves.
So in your opinion, what is the best place and thing to store all your chips in? Is it so the little things get lost?
Yep.
The big thing, what do you store your little chips in to make sure that you know what the hell is on the chip?
So if you go online and you just say SD, you search this in SD card storage containers. Just look at the different. I would recommend something that's watertight and keep it away from the water. If it's watertight, it will keep water out, but it will also keep water in. And that's the other thing. Get you these little cheap desiccant bags, the little bitty guys.
Oh, there's hundreds of different things.
There you go. That's what it is.
There's soft sides, hard sides, latches, no latches,
Yep. I recommend a hard-sided one because it's bulky. It's bulkier. It will take up more space, but you won't lose it because you'll be like, you will intentionally put it somewhere. If you think about your sunglass case, if you have a soft-sided one, you just fit it wherever it will shove, and then you're like, where did I put that? If it's hard-sided, you have to create a spot for it. You're like, hey, this is the spot for it.
Clay says, after all this effort, I'd store him in a fireproof safe.
Hey, he's not wrong. Though.
It makes 100% sense. This is something that I need to do.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, and I know that it's important because I've gotten to fish with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times, it's in between tournaments or media events, and they jump in the boat and we get down in the boat and they go, crap, hey, run up to my truck and in my console, there's a box.
Yeah.
Bring that down here. And you open it up and it looks like the mid 1990s or early 2000s CD folders.
Yeah.
And they're leafing through their map cards to get the right map card. And then they leaf through their chips.
Yeah.
And these are top level guys. And now they know exactly me. I've probably bought 4 $200 premium Southwest chips or whatever it is, just because I'm so bad about it. It's really awful. And I've lost numerous trails on lakes that I know that I'm going back to. What do you do about trails? Do you keep trails too? Do you treat trails just like waypoints?
I do. And because I was going to lean into that as well. So there's certain lakes that, let's talk Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, just come to mind. And there's way more for sure. Lake Fork, that you can either go and save your own trails. Hey, I've been here. I know this is a safe route. Or you can go buy trail cards, that show you the boat lanes. Boat lanes cards is what I'm trying to spit out here.
Yeah. Like Lance Vick has a boat
lane. 100%. And
I
guess what? I own
before you had it where you should have died.
Yeah.
Then you put it on there and you're like, damn, missed that trail by 100 yards.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm lucky to be here.
There's a lane between the black and the amber forest.
100%. But you don't want that specifically to be on your regular waypoints card, right? Like you don't want that to be in that file with your master stuff because it starts getting intertwined. So I literally have that card. I saved those waypoints as Sam Rayburn boat lanes, Toledo Bend boat lanes, Lake Fork boat lanes. And so maybe I put that on there and I don't have any other waypoints on there, but those are specific colored waypoints and I don't use those waypoints for anything else. Because when I put it on my computer software, I can sort it by, waypoint color or waypoint icon is what I'm trying to spit out. And then I can separate that again. Like, okay, I don't care about these because I've got this boat lanes over here. The boat lane doesn't change, and so that's where it kind of comes full circle. And that's why I like the different lakes. And then even within the lakes, if it's a boat lane, I keep a boat lane separate. And then I overlay that.
And all this goes on your 1 terabyte external hard drive.
100%.
So in case you lose your soft case, in case one of these chips gets corrupted, you could sleep at night knowing that you're doubly backed up.
That 100%.
TP with an interesting comment. Statement. You said in 5 years it'll be obsolete. Now we've seen technology go from 8 tracks to cassette tapes to CDs to all of this stuff. Is there anything?
If you look at the history of electronics, SD cards have been here since day one. Now I'm not saying that at some point they will not go away, because yes, technology eventually evolves, but external hard drives aren't going to go away, or it's going to go away slow enough. It's not going to be like one day it just stops.
Okay. To where all your SD cards are obsolete.
Where you can't get your data. Forget it. I mean, let's say that the SD cards are obsolete tomorrow, and let's say the external hard drive is obsolete tomorrow. The data itself is not obsolete, and you're not going to be able to not get the data. Because here's the cool part about it. Again, with the waypoints. Now, this may be the long way to get there, but I did a video on Garmin Active Captain where I could actually, I did a short one on our social media.
Okay.
Again, this is another one of those Academy videos. Like the Academy video level is huge. Like the queue for what I don't have enough time to shoot everything that I want to, but I literally text messaged the GPX file, which is just a generic file format. I text messaged it to a buddy of mine. I'm like, hey, these are the waypoints you want.
Okay.
My entire file is like in the kilobytes. Like it's not very big because it just doesn't take up very much data space. So let's pretend that tomorrow, all of my portable media, SD cards, external hard drives, my computer become obsolete, that there's no way to get this out. I can literally copy those files and email them to myself. So now they go to a big server on the cloud.
That was the next question. Guys were like, why don't you just put this stuff on the cloud?
100%. But I don't trust the cloud, because I don't have control of the cloud. So put it there, but as another spot. Like you're never going to find a guy that backs more things up than I do.
Yeah.
Put it to the cloud, put it on an external hard drive. Now I've got it in 2 places. Boom.
And
guaranteed.
You got it on all the chips.
And I've got hard chips. I like the cloud because I do have access. Oh crap. I walked off and left that guy setting, on my kitchen counter.
Cause I mean, I'm not kidding right now.
Yeah.
A boat that's in the garage.
Yeah.
I got a year and a half worth of work on that thing.
Yeah.
If it goes away, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not done, but all that, 1,000
all that
islands,
days, that effort, all your hard work is just
at the end of last year, all that, like not even just like, hey, this is a waypoint where to catch a fish, but hey, these are trails to get through. These are areas, these are brush piles, these are rock piles, like stuff that doesn't change.
100%. Maybe we do here's an idea. We did the BTO on the water, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we do a BTO where we kind of go through your boat a little bit and kind of show some of that.
That would be perfect.
So, I mean, I'll still go in depth on the Academy, but something like that to show the guys kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, this is a very helpful video for guys. I mean, it's worth the $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
Which is what it is what you're charging for this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to get people. So here's your uphill climb with the Academy. And maybe this is an off-air discussion, but we have a lot of those on there. There's so much free information out there.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to value information like what you're offering.
Right.
But it wasn't free for you to obtain that information and then present it to the people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a catch-22
it is.
Because they're like, oh, look at how much there is. But you're like, okay, but I'm trying to run a business and this is the right way to do it. And this is a skill. Like this is not, that's what you're fighting there. And then you have to get a couple people to do it, which you have. Obviously, you said it's been growing, but then once that happens and the word of mouth gets going, then it's like, a premium subscription to what's the Navionics or something like that, where you're paying $100 a year, and you have all this stuff at your disposal.
Right?
Is that fair?
Yeah, no, you're 100% hit the nail on the head, and I've not shied away from acknowledging that I highly doubt that there's anything that I'm going to put on the Academy that is not out there on the internet somewhere. Guys, full disclosure, I agree with it. The issue is go find it. And then do you trust
and know
it?
that it's right.
And know it's right. The other side
and
of it
have
is
tech support.
That's the other side.
And the deals.
There you go.
And have it in an app.
It's the whole package that I'm able to offer everybody that makes this valuable from a standpoint of just, okay, hey, I went out there and I went on the YouTube and I found this thing. You may watch a video. You may spend 2 days trying to find it, and then watch this 10-minute video for 30 seconds of valid information. And then you say, I wish there was more. Reach out to that influencer or creator and see if they actually get back to you. Some of them might, but they're not going to give you the one-on-one tech support that we're going to offer. That's the deal.
And you give out your personal cell phone as 24/7 hotline.
I do not give out my, but understand that. I personally help my team monitor incoming calls and everything else. Like, yes, I'm going to train them. You may not always get me, but you're going to get someone that knows what they're talking about.
Edward, look at this. This was not, he said he joined after the last episode when the Academy debuted, and the way the info is organized, knowing that it's reliable and that I have questions I can contact someone makes it more than worth it.
Excellent.
I think Edward used the direct link though, which makes me sad.
He didn't? Hey, Edward, tell me if you didn't use the direct link so I can give Matt credit, because I want Matt to get it credit where it's due. But that he hit the nail on the head. That's it. And that's great to hear, because that's what we're trying to do. And we acknowledge everything that you said. I'm not shying away from it, but just what he said, that's where we're coming at this, and it is sincere.
Okay. One more thing about the off-season stuff. I think this has been a very helpful episode because it has put it into perspective. Okay. This is probably the best time of the year to update your stuff.
100%.
Right? Because you know me, I'm scared to update it during the year. It's almost like the computer stuff and everything. Do you want to update now? No, all my programs work. They're compatible with each other. The sound is good. I'm leaving it the way it is. I am not updating that on day 3 of practice when my event starts the next day. Now, some guys are all about it. Like, what are you doing? I'm drinking a beer and updating my units.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's bold.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the time to see how do you figure out where the updates are if your stuff needs to be updated.
Yeah. So the great thing is you're not in a rush. So some guys, you're always going to have the early adopters that the minute an update is out and your unit is telling you to update, they're going to go do it because they want the latest and greatest no matter what it is, without doing any research. Hey, this isn't for you. Those guys are going to go do it. Then you've got the guys that are like, okay, it's come out. It seems like there's the bugs are not there. I guess I'll go ahead and do it. Whether they really know what the features are or the purpose, they just go and do it because that feels like the right thing to do. And then you got the guys that you got to drag along. Like, hey, you really need to update this. He's, I don't know if you saw me pointing at him, but
they heard it.
And these are the guys, and this is the majority of the people. Actually, most people like
BPT and elite level all the way down to club guy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm lumping every angler into the same category. I don't care what level you're fishing. The personalities, track across the board. And these guys are the ones you need to explain where, hey, this is the reason why you update it. This is the reason why, and it's been out long enough to prove it. Now, if your stuff is working 100% and you come to me and say, Scott, everything works, everything networks. It fits the way I fish, and you tell me this cool feature's over here, I will never use that feature, then fine, don't update it.
Okay.
Now, if I say, well, you say you're not going to use this feature, but you didn't think about it from this. And that's my job as to try to educate everyone and let you make your own decision.
Yeah. You're kind of done that with me with perspective mode.
100%.
Because I'm like, I don't give a damn about perspective. Exactly. You're like, okay, you might not use it, but here's some cool stuff that it can do. And as it gets better and better, you might run into a situation where this helps, but it's up to you.
It's up to you.
Okay.
And that's it. So my job is not to force anyone to do an update. It's to educate you and as to why the update. Now, I will tell you, regardless of manufacturer, if you have an issue, the first thing they're going to ask you is your unit up to date. because a lot of times they address things that they don't publish. They say, hey, these are the features. And then there's I call it the general bug fixes little dot that says it's in this update. Well, they identified something because listen, they put an update out and they've got a team back there that is continually testing it, trying to debug it, or they get calls in and they start saying, hey, this one thing keeps happening. And they put their engineers back there like, hey, can we replicate this? And they say, oh, sure enough, this is happening. And then they start working on that patch. So when an update comes out, you see the general bug fixes. This is where, or general improvements, general feature improvements. This is where they hide things. I don't mean hide. They're not trying to do anything nefarious, but just like they're not going to peel the onion completely back. Just know that they're working on stuff behind the scenes. So sometimes if they see an issue, they fix it in an update. And then when you call them in and say, hey, I've got this problem, and you say, yeah, but it was working fine. Why do I have to update it? I don't want to update it because it's this. They're going to say, well, we fixed it in this update. We've got to have you update it, so just be aware that's a sequence that will happen from that standpoint. But this is the time of the year, in my opinion, that if you've been slow to update, let's talk about where your update at, where you're at in your update process. And, every time an update comes out, I download it. So I've got a library of past updates. Okay. So maybe we don't want to jump you all the way to the latest and greatest, but maybe you could be served by jumping 3 updates, let's say you're 5 back.
So what Garmin do I have? That new 10, or not the new
one?
I
don't know where you're at right now. I don't know where you're at right now. Is it the same one we did forever ago?
Last year. It's a year old.
Oh, goodness.
It's the 10-inch screen. We did it at the begining of this year. Remember, I went from the 9 and then I jumped up to the 10, and now I'm going to do the 12 next year.
I think you're going to be like 22.1, 23.
No, my unit. What's my unit?
Oh, it's the 106, I believe, is what you're running. The 106 Ultra.
Okay, so if I want to know if I have updates on that, that's my thing. Like, it doesn't say it on the Garmin. Like, it doesn't say, like, hey, do you want to update? But I want to know if there's updates depending on whatever Garmin graph you might have. Can you just go, is that a Bass Tank thing? Is that a Garmin thing?
No, you can go straight to, there's 2 ways to go about it. You can connect through your Active Captain and it will come out and say, hey, there's updates available. And it will try to download it to Active Captain and then switch it over, then try to don't.
So for the normal person.
Or you can go to the unit, you can go to the unit itself. And you just from the home screen or select home.
Is this stuff that like will be in the Academy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. This seems like helpful.
100%, go again. My queue is this big, actually it's infinite of all the things I need to shoot. And I wish I had enough time in the day. It takes a lot to get a 10-minute, 15-minute video, 20-minute video.
But I can go on my unit and it'll say it needs to be updated.
And I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. Okay. Well, it's not going to tell you, hey, I need an update. It's going to tell you what level you're at. And then you can go to like Garmin.com, go to that unit, and then you can see all the different levels of updates or where they're at, the history of it. So you just go home, settings, system info, and then you'll see the version right there. The other way you can do it, kind of a backdoor way you can also see it is, let's say you've got multiple Garmin's on your boat. You could go, home settings, communications, marine network, and then you'll see everything that's connected to it. So you would see your live scope and your 106, and then it will say like V blank, blank, blank out the side of it. That's your version. And then when you go to Garmin.com, you can go search that and go to software updates and see what all the different past versions are.
Because my Lowrance is always like, hey, do you want to update? Every single time. And every single time I'm like, no. And then I turn it on 10 minutes later.
It's like, hey, how about now? How about now? You sure? Have you changed your mind? And that's because it's actively trying to reach out to the satellite and wants you to do it and that's just the way they handle it, And so, and then your hummingbirds are just, they kind of do, I don't want to say do nothing, but they just don't prompt you. It's kind of like the Garmin.
Speaking of hummingbirds.
Oh yeah.
Black Friday coming up.
Oh yeah. Black Friday. Hey, this is Black Friday. I know I don't want to hijack the BTL and turn it into a sales thing, but
no, I mean, it's your business.
Well, but I do want to share this because pretty excited about it. This is the time of year, where right now Hummingbird's running some awesome specials. We have mega lives right now that we are selling for $900. And if you've seen all the articles out there, there's guys that are selling them for $1,000. So I'm giving you $100 off mega live right now. And that's active today through this week. Go get them because we're ready to get them going. Move them. Let's go. Get them.
All right.
I mean, if you've been waiting to get into forward facing sonar as a Humminbird guy, no better time right now.
And there's a lot of exclusive Humminbird guys.
And there's a lot of exclusive
pretty
Humminbirds.
much north of Illinois.
Yeah, it's interesting how regional everything tends to be.
Minnesota, and it is straight birds.
Straight birds. Yeah,
everybody.
Straight birds.
Like,
you know, yeah,
Mega Live.
Yeah,
Mappy, everything.
Yeah, everything is
360.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What do you mean?
Yeah.
How did you catch a fish without 360?"
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I had live scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but you know, we want to serve everybody. You know, we obviously sell them all, and I'm not here to direct anybody specifically to a brand. I'm trying to get people into what works best for their situation, you know. And sometimes guys just say, I'm familiar with it. Okay, you know, I'm going to try to educate you on all the features of each one and let you make your own choice and go from there.
Bunch of different Black Friday sales too. A lot of them include a hat, which is nice.
Yeah, and we're gonna throw some screen cleaner in there as well.
Yeah, I got a bottle of that stuff right there.
Yep, absolutely. And
I was supposed to give away some. I got a box.
Yeah,
it went to all the open guys.
That's fine.
I had it in the truck, and then it was one of those deals where it was like, "Oh, you've got the screen cleaner," and then he's like, "I heard you got a box of screen cleaner." And before you know it,
they're gone. I'll get you. I can get you another box. It's not look, hey, I'll get you another box to give away. That's not a problem.
Hoodies, transducer, shields.
Power pole. Hey, by the way, I should say this. Now, not the blades, but the Pro Series 2. 25% off. You've never been able to buy them this cheap. So
what
while supplies last, because
have you experienced the difference between the Raptor and the poles?
I have.
What are the differences in your opinion? I mean, not that you don't have to like give an opinion on which is better, but like
the Raptors are very well built. You know,
are they Humminbird?
They're Humminbird. Yeah, they're Minn
so
Kota. They're technically they're Minn Kota.
Everybody who's bird has a Minn Kota trolling motor.
Yep.
Humminbird electronics.
Yep. You can
and Minn Kota Raptors.
No, not everybody. I mean, I still have a lot of guys, a lot of installs.
But if you're straight, all the way,
if you're right. If you're a one boat network type situation, that's what you're gonna be.
All that links together.
Yep.
So
so you can get the Raptors with active anchoring, so it would connect to your birds. And like if you let's say you had 8-foot Raptors and you're in 4 foot of water and they sink, it's going to keep trying to re-anchor itself. If you're in waves and bouncing up and down, it's going to keep trying to anchor itself, but it's needing the unit itself to be locked on the bottom to know that depth is changing. So that's really cool.
Okay. So that's where it says they never stopping or whatever.
Right. They never. Yeah. It's something like that. Yeah.
Or something. So it has to be linked to your units for it to notice like what's going on.
100%.
You just don't put them. Okay. I see.
But by that same token, so PowerPole and Garmin actually are working together with some integrations where they're doing some cool things where you can actually control your poles through your Garmin's. And then when you pick up your trolling motor, it will actually pick up the poles and like you can jog over, it'll pick them up and then re-anchor. So there's some communication there, you know, some integration. Now, obviously, you know, through the gateway, you've always been able to integrate with, I say always, but you can integrate with your Lowrance as well with the poles.
So, every one of these things, whether it's Garmin, Humminbird, Lowrance, they obviously want you to go all out.
Yeah.
They want trolling motor.
Yeah.
Shallow water anchors, units, network throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
There's obviously advantages. I'm assuming we'll call that, is that one boat network across the board regardless? Is that what you call that? Or does each one have a different name for it?
One boat network, I believe, is a Johnson Outdoors terminology, but essentially that's what it is. I mean, it's a good name because that's what it is. You know, it's just call it a one brand boat.
Okay. One brand boat.
Yeah.
So you talked about there's obviously advantages to that. Are there also advantages to mixing and matching? I mean, we're seeing a bunch of guys mix and match, but I wouldn't have a problem going one boat.
Yeah.
But I also have you on speed dial.
Right.
But then I also kind of like the idea that like, hey, because stuff doesn't work sometimes. If this doesn't work, I got this one that works. And just because it's not working at the front doesn't mean that my poles aren't going to work at the back. And just because this isn't working doesn't mean my trolling motor is not going to work. So there's also a little comfort in mixing and matching and we're seeing a lot of guys go into the mix and match, but then we're also seeing a lot of guys that are all in on the that one boat. And, you know, I've talked to guys that are like, man, I can control everything on my boat from my cell phone. I know the power. Look at all these things. I could do all of this stuff, and I couldn't do it if it wasn't all one.
Correct. Yeah.
So what's the deal on that?
It comes down to how are you going to use it. I mean, that's the reality is what is your, let's just address the elephant in the room for a second. If we're talking about Elite Series guys, there's some sponsorship level stuff going on here. And so some of those guys are running in one boat because that's who they're sponsored by. And not saying they're doing anything wrong or anything like that. It's just, that's part of the deal. They obviously believe in that product or they wouldn't try to even have a sponsorship by them, but that may be why and then you've got some guys that kind of say, you know what, I'm not going to take a sponsorship because I want to run what I want to run. And they do mix and match. Then, your average everyday customer, there's two schools of thought. I want everything to be the best of the best of the best. And so if I have to mix and match, I'm going to mix and match. I don't care if they talk. And then there's guys that say, I want the convenience of everything being the same. And that's where we kind of get into it, where when we're talking to our customers, like we try to understand that. So try to set people
what's
up
important to
what's important to you. And so, I like the ability to control my trolling motor from my unit. That way, if I'm in a cove and I'm wanting to idle out, it's an idle only cove. I can't run out of it. I just say, hey, trolling motor, take me to the front of that. Then I'm retying and I'm eating a sandwich, whatever, paying attention to what I'm doing.
Because you're sending it to a spot because your trolling motor is talking to your graph and you can set a course.
And that's just take me there.
And that's your Garmin trolling motor.
Garmin force talk to my Garmin units. Yeah,
Garmin
exactly.
Unit.
Now you could, let's say that I was running an Ultrex, with my Garmin units, but I'm running an Ultrex.
Right.
I could still take my remote and say, hey, take me there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to have to constantly be adjusting.
Course.
It's just a heading and it's just going to go that direction.
So then with what they came out with the drift and all that stuff with what's the new Minn Kota called?
The Quest.
Yeah. That works with Humminbirds.
Because
you have to have your mapping connected to the trolling motor.
Right.
So if I'm running a Quest with Garmin's and Lowrance's, I don't have that option.
Right. I'm going to be limited to the remote or the app itself to control it, and which may work just fine. Some guys say, okay, Scott, I see what you're saying, but I'm not going to mess with that. I don't really care. I'd rather have my Quest motor. Okay, that's fine. Again, I'm trying to tell everybody the features and why you might want to use it.
Yep.
And if that is not something anybody wants to mess with, then that's totally fine. We're not going to push you that.
And then there might be guys who have multiple because they like side imaging better for one brand, but they like the 2D or mapping better for another brand.
Yeah. And then they may like their forward facing sonar as a different brand. I mean, it literally.
Yeah. So the three major, we're all over the map. I love it. The three major maps, would you say are C maps, Navionics, and Lake Masters?
Well, Garmin Navionics Vision Plus is like their premium map. And so it's built on Navionics, but the premium map is the Vision Plus. That's the Garmin specific.
Okay. Map. So there is a mapping that you only get on Garmin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it works with Garmin. And then the Navionics, because Garmin owns Navionics at this point. Right. And so you can get an Navionics for a Lowrance.
Yeah.
Still. Well, that's a Garmin product, and that's why we designate it as Navionics, because it's still going to go Lowrance. Garmin Navionics Vision Plus is where we go get into the Garmin and say, okay, this is for a Garmin unit. So,
and then the C map.
Yep. That's Lowrance.
That's a Lowrance only.
Yeah. Lowrance only thing.
Okay.
Well, Simrad, but
so I use the C map that's built into my Lowrance a lot, but then you've also years ago, but you've also downloaded specific maps on not onto this one. I think I only have one map downloaded onto this, but then that's up front to where you were like, hey, you have this option, but look at this.
Yeah.
And then I also have the Platinum Navionics that I buy. So then I can toggle, in theory, on a couple lakes that I've fished, I can toggle between historical image of Google Earth, C-Map, Navionics, and the Garmin Navionics.
And that's the other thing, kind of talking about going back to the off-season thing. Maybe it's time to upgrade your maps. Maybe it's time to understand our maps. This is a good time for education.
You need map stuff on there, so I know when I go to get it, that needs to be on the.
Yeah, trust me. Again, there's a bucket that's endless, and it's literally trying to find the time to do each video, because
this is all stuff that is super important that the guys go to the lake and have it dialed in, and they're maximizing their time on the water because they understand these little things, because they have a Scott that they talk to, whether it's at the graph or whoever they're sponsored by that says, hey, here's the latest and greatest. And they stop by and they update it for them, or they're on top of this stuff. Like, I have screwed the pooch several times over the last 2 years by not having the right mapping or the right thing set up. And of course, you work with guys, but the guy's not going to say, hey, you need this mapping. And if you set it to this stuff pops, and everywhere this is, there's fish. Wheeler was a perfect example. It was so freaking easy. And the guys who had the right setup on the Decatur Flats were like, oh, you just go to these strips and you fish the stumps on them. And I was not there with them. And afterwards, I literally did it and was like, are you freaking kidding me?
And that's what's at our fingertips. And that's what I'm trying to get, just your everyday fisherman, and listen, if tournament anglers can benefit from it. That's what I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help everybody.
There's no excuse not to go in prepared to this, even when you're fun fishing, if you're spending all the time, like I get pissed at myself because I know that I have all this stuff at my disposal. And I either don't know how to maximize it. I don't know what I need to maximize it, or some of it's just laziness of going, I don't want to use the brain power to get all this stuff dialed in. I got a chip. I'm good. Let's just roll.
And that's it. The chip is good. And so, okay, it gives me some general knowledge, but there's so many features, I mean, again, I kind of go back to, and specifically because I've done the video on it, but like with the Garmin Vision Navionics, plus card, Garmin Navionics Vision Plus, too many words. Can we shorten the words? I showed the raw sonar data. I showed you how you could toggle to raw sonar data. That's huge in my opinion, because it shows you, you can start seeing bottom composition. And
you showed that. Did you show that on the?
I showed that on. I didn't get too in depth in it because it was just a short. Again, that's a problem with social media, is I can't get as in depth and nerdy as I want to. But like I would use that, and I would actually go mark boulders. Now the northern lakes are a little bit easier because they're glacier, and hey, it's basically big gravel or sand flat, and then here's a reef, and those isolated boulders stick up.
Can you see that? That's this stuff, right?
So this is actually relief shading. Oh, that's actually not even. That's again. So that is good in itself, but the raw sonar data will show you like.
Oh, that's
drains.
When they actually ran.
Do it before it's gone through the computer to render it the whole 9 yards. This is the rendered version.
Pretty.
Right. They haven't made it look pretty. Well, fine. I kind of want to see the raw data, because your little ditches, there's ditches that I found that did not show up on, my other stuff. Now, when I knew it was there and I changed it back to the other settings, I'm like, oh, okay, it is there, but it was so subtle that the raw sonar data is what is actually what revealed it. That can be the difference in you being, like you said, you're gonna be fishing. Hey, I'm fishing this, and I'm 50 yards from where I should be from the mother load. Especially if you're fishing tournaments, that can be the difference in cashing a check and not cashing a check. And look, I get it. I don't have the time to spend. I spend too much time teaching this, not enough time studying it myself. To go fish the amount of tournaments that I'd like to, but that's what, let me teach you guys so you can go cash checks. I accept 10% commission on, is that, no, that's not how that works. Okay.
Scott and Clay, I think Scott just got in here. I wasn't at the beginning. That was on me as the 2 discount codes, or the 2 free access codes. No, neither of you guys have had them, because just like mailing things, I was poor at getting those emails over to Scott. I will do that.
I will make sure to leave here with your information, guys. That one's on. I will make sure of
from the last show. That's helpful stuff. That's useful stuff.
Yeah, and this is the time of year to learn. If you're gonna upgrade your electronics, kind of take a step back real quick. This time of year, look back at the season. What did you have a problem with? And what I mean a problem with, not catching fish, but as my boat sets here, did I continually have battery issues? Did I continually have transducer issues? Is there something that was just, kept me from really catching, even if I was just fun fishing? Is there something that kept me from enjoying my time on the water or maximizing my time on the water? And let's address it now. And if that means I've got to change out hardware, great. If I feel like, hey, the unit itself was not, my system is not up to par, can I get it up to par by educating me and revealing the features that are here? Or do I need to go spend the money to upgrade units? And there is no one right answer because everyone's in a different situation. Some guys upgraded their units last year and have not maximized what they are. You don't need to go spend the money, to get the latest and greatest. There have been several times I've tried to talk customers out of buying from us because we had just upgraded them. Hey man, you don't need this. You're not gaining that much more. You already have it here.
But there's some guys who just every time a new driver comes out, even if they're piping it down the fairway, they're looking to get an extra half yard.
Yeah, and that's fine. At the end of the day, if they say, I don't care, I want it, I'm going to sell it to you. But I'm also not just trying to take your money just to take your money.
Okay. We'll use me as a guinea pig. So I've got Okeechobee, Santee, and Lake Ouachita. The first 3 opens. It starts the beginning of February. That's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
I got the cat in the garage right there. I can go out. I can mess with stuff. So based on our show today, if this is applicable for all the listeners, here's what I've gathered I need to do.
Yep.
My waypoint management is a disaster right now.
Absolutely.
I need to go out and I need to spend some time organizing my waypoints, getting an external hard drive, getting a hard side waterproof pack, a bunch of 16 SD cards, getting all of those. Let's assume I've got to use this boat for the first couple of events in next year too. Getting all of those waypoints managed, organized, save them to the cloud, email them to myself, whatever I have to do to sleep at night to know that they're not going anywhere. Then I wipe my units. Then I want to come back in and I want to look at, I'm going to talk to you. I want to make sure that my Garmin's updated. I want to make sure that my Lowrance is updated, because even if I don't like it or there's a glitch or something, I have several months to understand it.
Correct.
Then I need to look at what mapping I need, whether that's getting on a forum, talking to you, looking at it and figuring out what map I need for Okeechobee, Santee, and Ouachita, my first 3. So whether that's ordering a subscription deal to get the Navionics Platinum for $100 a year, the Plus on my Garmin. So now I've got a clean unit. All my waypoints are organized. It's maximized, and I've got the right mapping. And then I'm good to go. So I know when I go there that I'm optimized, instead of like, this is what's most likely going to happen if I don't force myself. I'm going to have 5,000 to 7,000 waypoints with 50 trails. And I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to be like, I wonder if the C-map's the best for Okeechobee.
100%. Now's the time to do that research, and not just for Okeechobee, because Okeechobee is the first event. Is that right? So you've got the most time between now and Okeechobee. From there, the season kicks off and it starts rolling fast. You get less and less time, right? Because not just because there's not the time between events is less, but also, you've got to come run BTL, that's you've got to go make a living, and apply that to every guy out here.
I'm not making a living with my open journey.
Well, I'm just saying, if you are, great, but take that to your everyday guy that's out here, even if he's fishing weekend tournaments, when season kicks off, you start having tournaments every month or every 2 weeks or whatever it is, or whatever you're fishing. Oh, and then by the way, you've got a day job, and so now is the time that you've got the most gap. So do the scouting on, learn Okeechobee, but at the very least, make sure that the maps you have are set up for every event you have. That way, when you go to that, you're like, okay, I feel good about the maps I have. I feel good about my waypoint management for that. So I'm going in it clean, and I can just focus on finding fish and studying and understanding this body of water, what's going on. Because at the end of the day, until you actually get to Okeechobee, you don't know what the weather is going to be. There's so many factors that you can do a lot of pre-practicing before you practice, but you can't actually know what the fish are doing until you get there.
Black Friday sales going on through Black Friday.
Yes. I mean, that short answer is yes. There's probably going to be some that are going to filter into, through December as well, but Black Friday is always the big one. We are going to have the Garmin 93s. You want to talk about a great intro unit into
9-incher.
Yeah, 9-incher.
That's what I ran.
So
for
you ran for
4 years.
Yep.
Up until this past year.
Yeah. So we'll have those, for $700. It'll come with a GT54 side imaging transducer, which is not a bad starter unit. If someone's trying to get into it, but it's cheap. And we have the LVS 32. So we get special buys with Garmin from time to time. Mm-hmm. And these are actually refurbished. And now people say, oh, I'm scared of a refurbished. Well, let me explain what a refurb actually is. These are units that got sent out when they originally sold, and they had an issue within the first 30 days. They got sent back to Garmin, and Garmin looked at them and said, hey, we're going to refurbish them. Well, they sent them back to their factory and have their factory go back through them and basically replace the guts. They put them back together and they test them and they say, hey, these are new units. If you had them sitting side by side, you never even know the difference. But they know that they've been installed. And so in good faith and good conscience, they can't go sell them as new units because they've been installed, even though you would never know it because they've been completely redone. They've been repaired. They've been repainted. You wouldn't know. They come with a factory 1-year warranty.
I think I pulled it up. The Garmin Echo Map UHD 93 SV with the GT56 I love saying this, sounds like I know what I'm talking about. TM transducer plus Panoptix Live Scope LVS 32 transducer factory refurbished. So that is the black box, the deucer, and the screen.
Yeah.
That is you are a scoper.
You're a scoper at that point
for less than $2,000.
Yeah, and so
less than $2,000.
Less than $2,000, and that specific one right there, that's actually a different Black Friday sale that I've been running. That is a GT56. That is the latest and greatest transducer from Garmin from Side Imaging. So we're going to have that, and then we're getting ready to launch because I can't launch it yet because Garmin says, hey, don't do this. This is a Black Friday deal. But the 93 with GT54 is what's coming. But those are the same unit with a GT56. So it's going to be just a little bit more expensive than the GT54. But yeah, less than $2,000, you can get into, you're a scoper for less than $2,000.
No.
So that's just.
And then sign up for the Bass Tank Academy and get more.
Well, and that's it. Sign up for the Academy, and then you start earning credits. You start earning rewards, and probably May is when we'll issue our next. So you'll get 5% back on every dollar you spend.
Trevor, that's a 9-inch screen. Like I said, I ran a 9-inch screen for 4 years. I was so happy with the 9-inch screen that I just went with a 10-inch this year.
Yeah.
And I'm going with the 12 next year, I think, just because I can.
Yeah.
But I would have absolutely no problem running a 10.
Right. Or listen, everyone says, what screen do you want? And full disclosure, buy the biggest screen you can afford.
And I go with my buddy Juice all the time, and he's got a 9-inch screen and the 32.
Yeah.
And I switch between my 10 and 34 and his 32 and the 9.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm missing fishing with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it as crisp and clean and easy?
Yeah.
I'm used to what my 34 and the 10 looks like. But am I looking at his going, boy, we'd be catching a lot more if
that's the thing about it. Full disclosure, buy the biggest screen you can afford, 100%. But if you're saying, man, I really don't want to spend that kind of money, dude, you're going to catch a lot of fish. There's probably been more fish caught with a 93, like 9-inch unit than any other of them. Just because when it first came out, that's what everyone did. And when you add in all the crappie that have been caught with that 9-inch screen, bass that are caught with that 9-inch screen before we.
Trevor says he's looking at it, but a 9 might be too big for his kayak. Now you want a 9-inch on the kayak.
Absolutely.
That's the perfect size.
I say that would be a perfect size for a kayak.
Yeah.
We actually, one of my installers actually has a kayak, and we've got him set up.
You don't want to go any smaller than a 9 when you're scoping.
No, not at all. Because the only size smaller is a 7, and you're going to hate your life. You don't want to go bigger. I mean, you could get away with a 10, but. I mean, actually, what's he saying? Put a 16 on that kayak. Come on, let's go.
What's that one? Who was I? Oh, Rick was talking about it. We're seeing those. I think there's a couple guys running them this year. Those, and you talked about them last time. The 22-inch screens out of Canada.
Oh, the MBT.
Yeah.
So we're actually in the process of becoming a dealer for him.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So that's a cool little deal where it's a cheaper way to get into a bigger screen than what you would have to pay for a 22-inch,
But you put your screen in the boat and then it connects to
that. Yeah. Basically it's mirroring the other screen. So basically what you would do is you'd put like an 8000 series Garmin at the console, and then you would network it.
I wonder if that's, it's been like that. Oh, interesting. I went to MBT Marine and it's all Jacob Fouts. He's been in the news a little bit lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay.
So yeah, we're in the process. I talked to him just probably a week or two ago, and NBT. Yeah. So we're gonna. He sent me all the paperwork. It's on me to get it done, and so we can set it up and get it on the website. So
you need anybody to test stuff?
Yeah. Are you? Look, if I need someone to break stuff, that's.
I don't break stuff.
No, you don't break stuff.
I do not break stuff
because you won't try anything. You're scared to touch.
I will try an MBT screen.
Yeah, Matt's too scared to touch stuff.
Can I scope on that thing?
Oh yeah, that's the point of it, is to get a big scoping screen. 100%.
I've got it pulled up right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm serious. We might have to talk about that.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to see what it would take to get into one of those.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion.
What would the wind resistance be like that? Like Rick was talking about, he's like, well, every graph you put on is like 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
He's not a big fan of weight on the front of the boat, obviously.
Yeah.
He also puts the most crap on the front of his boat too, but he's, he wants people to be like, I got, an 80-mile-an-hour cat. But what is the wind resistance on that? I mean, I guess you have to run with it completely parallel, I guess.
So I mean, that is something, and it sounds like you got into it yesterday, and that's something that people have to understand. Oh, I lost 1.5 miles, or I lost this speed. I've done this or this prop. Guys, I felt it. I felt it on the front of the boat with every time you add a graph and every time you add 360. The nose of these boats are designed. Manufacturers they take into consideration the graphs, but they can't completely,
and they don't know what the hell you're going to freaking strap up there.
That's right. I mean, how could you even possibly do it, because there's so many different configurations, right? And by the way, the trolling motor and graph companies, they don't really care about aerodynamics. They're trying to get you a good piece of electronics that has X features. The bow manufacturers are the one that care about aerodynamics and hydrodynamics, the whole 9 yards. Those two don't really mesh. And so when you put a unit up there, and I'm not saying don't do it, because obviously we're going to, but just keep in mind of every time you put a graph in there, it's going to affect the way the boat it may affect your visibility. There's a lot of guys that like these mounts that are up.
Yeah.
And I'm not against them at all. We sell them, we install them.
Dead center someone that you didn't see.
But you have to keep it in mind and pay it extra attention, because you don't want to get into a wreck. Because I can't see. So, and for me personally, I don't like them up there. I like them lower down. I like them more flush at the bottom. But now sometimes when I'm out there scoping all day, I'm like, I wish I could raise it.
That's why I like the beat down.
Yeah, and that's it. And beat down is a prime example. I love their mounts. And I do like that you can lower it. It's pretty easy just to boom, take it down. And that's one thing that's really, really good about that. And we've seen a gravitation, a kind of a little bit of a shift with some of those extendable, where they either fold down or something. They've recognized, hey, we need this to kind of not be up there. So yeah, beat down is fantastic from that standpoint, because it's rigid, it real quick drops, and then I can take off and go.
So I need an AquaView, the MBT marine screen, and the saltwater transducer.
All right, let's go.
Turret.
All right.
And a 360.
Yeah,
and then I'd also like to put a couple of off of each power pole in the back.
Yeah.
And then I want one shooting straight down.
Okay.
And then I'd like one a 34. No, a 34 down.
Okay.
And then a 34 out.
Okay.
And then a saltwater on a turret.
Okay. All right. And what are we gonna do for perspective? You forgot that one.
Oh yeah, can we put another? Yeah. Can we put a turret on each side?
Yeah, put a turret on each side.
Let's put perspective on one and the saltwater on the other.
I'll tell you what. I'll do another different. I'll set up. I'll wire it where they're automatic, so they're just constantly sweeping back and forth, and then you can just override
just slow. And then obviously, what I learned at Lake of the Ozarks was you need one while you're driving.
Yeah,
like on a turret next to you, so you can look up under docks.
Yeah.
That is linked, and then that goes to the twin 16, so I can have mapping on one, and then I also need to be able to have my AquaView so I can see it through that.
Yeah,
and
then
my Garmin.
And then word gets you one of those old phones, where you can put it in there and crank it and shot fish out of the. Is that too far? Did we go too far?
You know what? All of that is being done this year at the top level, and someone at the down. Like what I said, that was kind of a joke, but
at the same time, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's at the top level, fine.
Did I mention did I leave anything out that guys are doing?
The only thing that I think you're going to start seeing is, as people are leaning more and more and more and more heavily into forward facing sonar, you're going to start seeing these trolling motors show up on the back of boats, the brakes, if you will. And so what they are is they're literally trolling motors that are pointed backwards. They give you reverse thrust.
I've heard about this.
I think you're going to start seeing this trickle
And then
in.
you hit the button, and then instead of washing the fish out, you see a fish 80 feet in front of you, and you hit it, and they go, and it keeps you 80 feet from it.
And then you can
so
actually
instead of having to spin it with the prop going, it's 20 feet back, it just can slow you down.
Yeah. And
I want those too.
And you can keep looking at the fish. Because if you now there's as new trolling motor, the power pole move has a reverse button as well. The Quest has the prop will literally spin backwards without having to spin the trolling motor a different direction. And so that works, but now we're still 20 feet closer and we're washing that fish out. Whereas these other guys, it's a good idea, but it is, every angler has to decide how much is too much. Forget about if I've got all the money in the world, how much is too much on my boat. And I like a clean boat. I start getting annoyed if there's everything under the sun. Now I'm strongly considering running a 360 this year, especially when I go north.
Yeah.
That's it. Just down here. Okay. But when I go north, I'm probably going to have a 360. Cause when I'm looking for those rock reef edges, I can see it with live scope, but I can position the boat better if I can see it on 360.
Is the MBT a touchscreen?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about it. Fine. We'll talk about it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. We can't do it with your current Echo maps though. It has to be an 8000 series. So, well, there's some things we need to talk about and iron out on that.
But I also heard, can you link a Lowrance and the Garmin into it?
That one I don't know. He may look. He's a smart dude, and so he's always working on stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if he.
I don't need that. It would be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
What else we got to get in here? We are an hour and 50 minutes in, Scott.
I mean, I didn't want to hijack it with sales, but I do want everyone to know there's Black Friday, because if I can save anybody money, I want everyone to know about it. So we got that going. Any questions we need to answer? I hate not coming on here and giving anybody some questions.
We answered some questions at the beginning, but I think we went through, will the Force be on sale?
No, the Force will not be on sale, unfortunately.
Landon Tucker's watching this from his honeymoon, I think.
Landon, aren't you supposed to be on your honeymoon? Man, I appreciate the pub, but brother,
is there a mount coming out that allows the live to be mounted around the trolling motor shaft?
For the Quest?
I guess.
Is that the question for the Quest?
I don't know. He doesn't say that.
So the Quest is a square shaft.
Yeah.
And that's going to become a problem.
Was that like a salty decision, you think? Or was
no, I mean, according to Humminbird, that's because the amount of torque in the, for moving the trolling motor back and forth, they had to go to a square shaft. I would think that's more of I don't think it's a direct thumb at the other manufacturers. I would think that's more of from a technical and I don't want to say an oversight, because they know that they're already making a bracket for their mega lives, but at some point someone's going to come out with it. It'll be interesting. Just a side note, I think it'll be interesting to see how everyone reacts to this. Are the other two manufacturers going to start making a mount that fits that? Is Johnson Outdoors going to make a mount that fits that for the others? Yeah. So right now, if you want to run a Quest with an active target or a live scope, you have to barrel mount it. That's your only option on the Quest right now. Now, at some point, a third party, someone out there is going to start 3D printing one, and then there's going to be start injecting molding one at some point. I would tell you that I know probably who's going to do it first, just because I run their mount personally as well. And I bet you they're already spinning it up, ready to go. So somebody will come out with it, but I think it's going to be a third party. And most likely that's what the manufacturers, the other guys, are going to say, hey, you know what? We're just going to let a third party do this. We're not going to get into that. And so it's just kind of fun to see all the competition.
That's a lot of info, dude.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
No, just the whole show.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah,
I hope it is.
But it was understandable info.
Good,
I feel like it was a practical show.
Well, good. That's
not
what I wanted
abstract.
Yeah.
Down the wormhole show. Yeah. We went down the wormhole, but just in practical
practicality.
Yeah, you can actually do something with that.
Yeah, and that's
get on
that's
Amazon,
what
eBay, Bass Tank.
Yeah,
thebasstank.com.
Yeah, thebasstank.com. Yeah. No, and I hope so, because that's what I want it to be always. And every time I come on, I'm like, man, I hope I can provide good information today. And then Matt never disappoints. He's full of questions. So,
well, I mean, if there's some people that are like, well, you just use the show as your personal sounding board to figure out. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I ask the stuff that I want to know.
but understand, he's got my cell phone. Like, he calls me too. And sometimes, but in full disclosure, guys, I one time, or not, let me start over here. I learn what my customers need or what people need. Like, where I focus my energy is if I'm getting a question all the time, I'm like, hey, this is important to everybody, because I don't know all the questions in the world, because I'm constantly get so stuck in my own world of trying to break stuff. I don't know if it's applicable or not. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever even run into this issue, but here it is some obscure thing that I've tried to do. And you asked how I knew some of that stuff. Sometimes I'm just my brain said, like I said, I wonder. Mm-hmm. But what happens is, if I get a question enough, I say, hey, we need to talk about this, and Matt's a good example. That's why I've bragged on you, because I'm like, I like Matt because he's not afraid to just ask questions that some people are maybe afraid to ask, because unfortunately the internet and social media is not a friendly place. A lot of forums, guys are asking legit questions, and that's the other side. I get argued with. I've had to stop posting at all, answering questions on forums, because guys argue with me, and I'm like, dude, you're spitting non-truths here, and I'm literally trying to help this guy. And it's a no-win situation for me. I'm like, I've messaged people directly sometimes, like, hey, call me. I will literally have a conversation with you and explain to you why to do this. I will walk you through it step by step. And it's tough, but that's where you're good at saying, you know what, I'll play the dummy role here. But you're asking questions that guys out there are, so don't be ashamed of it.
No, check out like I said, Black Friday deals, thebasstank.com, Bass Tank Academy. Link to that is will be in the YouTube and iTunes bio. Any other questions you guys can direct to my social media or email me, matt@basstank.com. I can put you in touch with the right person is just as far as that stuff's concerned. And then we'll get the codes out to the two.
Yeah, I'm going to leave with your information. I'm not going to let him forget this time. So we'll get it.
Anything else? Am I missing anything else?
I mean, there's always more we could go into. We could turn this into a 5-hour show.
I'm done going into anything deep.
Yeah, so
my capacity stops at 1:53 seconds.
So I think that's it then. Unless there's one glaring question there from a listener that you need to answer. Other than that, I think we're good, man.
Not that I see. Thanks for making the drive down, Scott. Always appreciate it. Always enjoy it, and always learn a ton.
All right. I appreciate you having me in the studio.
All right. Tomorrow, Mike McClellan joins BTL to talk about his decision to return to Bassmaster. I don't know if he's going to go to that. They had a chance to return to BTL, and he's going all 9. He's also probably the most decorated angler in the Open, or not. Like 5 Elite Series win, $1 million in earnings. We'll talk to him. I just got a chance to hang out with him at Table Rock last week for an entire week. In good spirits, excited to get back on. Look, I mean, he's not thrilled in fishing the Bassmaster Opens because he's a top-level talent, but he's excited for the challenge. How does that sound, Scott?
That sounds like a challenge, but yeah, good. He's got a fire in his belly.
And then no show on Thursday because it is Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody will get to spend it with family and loved ones and have safe holiday travels. Tomorrow we're also having the winners of the Logan Parks Chaos High School College Fishing on. I will give it to Logan Parks. He's an Elite Series rookie. He's on top of it, man. He's like, hey, here's what's going on. I want to talk about it. Here are the winners. Do you want those guys to come on and talk about it? I respect the hustle. So I was like, absolutely. Jump on for a segment. Yeah, we'll talk to a couple kids for a minute. So, all right, this has been another edition of Bass Talk Live. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Later.